Hello, hello. We are here with a special guest. We're coming together to do a collaboration. I have a very special friend and amazing healer with me, Giselle Iona with Fully Me. Hi, Jazz.
Hi, Audra. I'm super
Um,
excited to be here with you, hon.
yes, Jazz and I have met with we've been in a mentorship space together. I've had the pleasure of experiencing her sound healing, and we've had some beautiful conversations together. And so we wanted to come in together and just bring a conversation to you in how. Just some of the things the commonalities that we're seeing in the work that we do. And so, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Audra Coons, and I'm the founder of This Radiant Woman. And I really am here to bring the radiance back into our lives as women. And specifically, I work with health and wellness practitioners, healers, leaders, coaches, anything within that realm. And making sure that there's a space for you to do your own healing and your own a space for you to expand, because as somebody who's doing that work sometimes, and really where a lot of my movement has come in, is that we have not been giving that to ourselves. And so if we're not well, we're not able to really um, really provide the best possible outcomes in the space for the people that we serve to do that. And I know Jazz works a lot with creatives and artists. And really, I'll let her go ahead and explain a little bit about what she does. But we're going to really bridge that gap between really the science and the arts. Right. And so, Jazz, thank you so much for being with me. I'll just give you a minute to just share a little bit about you and who you work with, what you do.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Audra. Again, I've been looking forward to this, and then as the time grew closer, I started to get more and more excited. So I'm really happy to be here. My name is Jazelle Iona. I am a performing artist, singer, songwriter, actress, now author, published author. But I've been performing and in the professional performance world for over 25 years now, and started when I was younger, and just have had a lot of wonderful opportunities to perform on stages large and small, travel around the world performing. And so, what I do with Fully Me, how it really started was a transition in my life where I have always been this artist, have been performing for as long as I can remember, and transition into the family phase. And then it's like, how does my world work now? And Fully Me is really about embracing every season of your life as an artist. It doesn't matter where it is, whether it's just you, but there's like a lot of things happening. You still are able to embrace who you are, understanding and knowing that the gift inside of you is a puzzle piece to this world. And we need all of our puzzle pieces in
Mhm.
order to be able to experience the fullness that this world has to bring. So, whether it's talking about your mental health and your physical health, whether it's talking about what that project you have and what's causing the blockages for it, what's keeping you from being in that artist lab, or whether it's talking about going deep within yourself and removing those emotional, mental, and maybe traumatic experiences through the use of the very things that we love to do: sing, dance, all the music, all of their artwork, being able to use that now to create spaciousness and healing within ourselves so that we can go back out there and do that craft and bring our light to the world and make it shine just a bit brighter. So my background is in the performing arts, but then I also have higher education in psychology and studying expressive arts therapy, which is just saying this works. Now, what's the science behind it? And the best part about it is, and I'm really excited about this conversation because I have like the experience in the science. I have the experience as the artist. I have the experience as the creative and somatic healing facilitator. What does that mean? And what does it look like? And the fact that, shock, they're not separate. We each have each of those pieces inside of us, but now it is one, identifying it, two, allowing that the door to be open to it again. What does it look like for you? And then three, how can I utilize this to go further in whatever path looks like for me? So I'm super excited to be here. And I already know I'm going to get something out of this. So for myself, I know y'all going to get something, but I think I'm going to get something. So happy to be here with you, Audra.
Absolutely. I love this. And that's really really behind the movement of this radiant woman, and specifically with the modern day medicine woman, because that is really the next thing that's coming through in my work is we are modern day medicine women, and that needs to look different than how it has. And the part of that is reciprocity.
Mm,
And that, as you mentioned, like we're here to offer this information and beyond information, right? This wisdom and that we have lived through, we've had experiences and working with other people. We're here to bring that for other people to hear and experience. And we get to get something out of that too. And this is a space that, right, we're both going to be filled up when I already am feeling that, right? But as we're, by the time we log off of here, we're going to be filled up ready for our day. And that is a part that I really truly believe is missing um, within the health and wellness, and more on the health side, right? I've been a therapist for the last 10 years. I've been in mental and behavioral health in different settings for just under 20 years. And that's what I've seen a lot. And specifically with women who are highly sensitive, maybe they identify as neurodivergent, like there's a lot of terms we can use, but really just recognizing, even within our feminine bodies, we have specific things that we need to really help nourish us, which allows us to pour into other people. And what I've seen, right, it's very too common, right, is that people are really they're drained
yes.
and they're trying to serve and show up for people who need that, but they're not getting it themselves, right? And I know, as much as I've like enjoyed even especially within my private practice, enjoyed my work and found it to be quite successful, it wasn't fully supportive of everything that I needed. And I made it every possible way to do that until it was like, nope, you've got to move to the next thing, which is what I'm building now. And so I just love that you shared that reciprocity. And the other thing, that the puzzle piece, I love the what you brought up about the puzzle piece, and that's something that's come to me too, right? When we're trying to fit puzzle pieces together, that it's like this is over here and this one's over here. These don't go together, right? It's like up against a wall. But then when you start to find where does it actually, oh, it's just like with ease. Oh, just snapped right in. There's the puzzle piece.
Yeah. Yes. So it's you said something. My mind was like, doo, 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 doo.
I know I said a lot.
You said so no, no, not that you said a lot, but that it was so good because my mind was like bouncing off the wall as you were talking. Like so going backwards, the puzzle piece. I literally have my birthday gift or Christmas gift recently last year was I would like a puzzle table. And so my kids got me this puzzle table, and it's because I enjoy doing puzzles, but beyond that, I really feel like my intuition and that spirit speaks to me through that. Why? Because I'm doing like 1,000 piece puzzles, right? And when you have this picture, it's like, oh, that's the picture. But then when you cut it up into 1,000 pieces, you have a balloon that's blue and with shades of purple and all, and maybe it has some green spots in it. But when you have a small puzzle piece, you only see like the blue and maybe a little bit of green on it. Where does this go? Like, how is this going to work? And so it really has taught me how to be patient and to allow, and this is that part, there is our intuition, there's a part of us, I call it my ancient one, old soul. There's a higher part of you that knows. And when this brain, the logical brain, which we need, we appreciate, we thank you, love you, thank you. But when it takes over, it's trying to see this big, like how can I phrase it? It's trying to get in so deep to figure out, okay, so this is green. So that means that the other piece has to be green because this has green in it. When our intuition knows and it sees the bigger picture and it has perspective to say, okay, yes, that has green in it, but it also has blue, and look, there's a little tip of purple. So why don't we look around in this area with those colors, giving us that insight to then make the connection? And I feel like for us, even in the health space, because in studying expressive arts therapy, especially, as I'm going through the classes and I'm going through the studies and I'm going through the material and I'm going through, like, you honestly have to go through therapy yourself in order to be a therapist. Even in studying it, you have to dig in deep with all of your stuff before you can help anybody with their stuff. And so as I'm going through this and I'm going through my stuff and I'm saying, oh, now we got to help people on a regular basis with their stuff, going through my stuff is a lot. Oh my gosh. It's rewarding. Don't shy away. It's needed, but it's a lot. I'm exhausted. Now I'm helping somebody else with their stuff, and I'm a person who cares, who's empathetic, who loves, who wants to see you thrive. That means there's an investment, which when you are in this field and you're helping someone else, there needs to be an investment. But it's heavy. So if you are not able to take care of yourself and have that support, like you were mentioning, even in your practice, then that means you're carrying weight. Not only weight that is heavy, but weight that is someone else's that is heavy. It's like taking care of somebody else's children. My children, they may drive me crazy. I love you. I love you so much, but you all are a little bit much right now. Let's take a break. But then it's something different when it's somebody else's children. It can be your niece and nephew. I love you so much, but it feels a little bit heavier. So how can I, because it's not mine, how can I find a way to get myself in a position where I am resourced so that I can assist you with as much love, as much energy, with as much focus as needed? And sometimes having that spaciousness, seeking outside help, but also having that spaciousness within ourselves to have the perspective, to allow our intuition to speak to us, to know that we don't have to force things together, that we don't have to be in the logic mind right now trying to make it make sense, that we can expand a little bit more so that we are supportive within ourselves is really, really important. So that was just, you were talking.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Same, same. And even as you're sharing that, right, when you were, I love how you brought in your creative analogy with the puzzle, and I was tuning into that, and it's so true, right? Is that it's what another thing that came to me is we're so zoomed in, and so our brain and our logical brain wants to zoom so far in because it's trying to figure it out,
hyper.
and right, and so it's that, as you said, the bigger picture, right? Zooming out to see the full picture, it becomes clearer. And that, I think, even one of the things that kept coming up as you were speaking was the heaviness.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when we are, right, as you mentioned, we want, we need, we appreciate our mind, where we need to know its purpose, what it's there for, and how to use it. And that involves training.
Yeah.
And when we're so zoomed into that, or we're overly exercised in using our mind only, it feels heavy.
Yes.
Right. And that's where I think, as you are bringing in intuition, spirit, whatever term that is for you, but knowing that there is a part of you that is not your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that lives over here on the artist side that we're talking, right? That's the part of us that where ease and lightness comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you, like, spaciousness is a word I use often, right? That we're creating this space. Well, really, that's from over here in the mind is so heavy. There's no space in there. And we've been taught really and kind of trained this way, which is not right. It just is what it is. And now we're coming into a time of like, oh, okay, we've been so heavily in the mind. What if we add this space in? We've been heavily in science. What if we add in the arts? But that's the spirituality, that's the internal guidance. And that's where you marry those together. It's a whole different ball game,
You're on.
right?
You're you're on it. Listen, there was, so you mentioned like the science and spirituality. I was going through, oh my gosh, a very, very dark, dark, dark period in my life. Um, something had happened within my family that I would have never guessed would have been the case. I didn't know what to do with it. I felt depleted. I literally felt depleted, depleted of life, depleted of hope, depleted of purpose. Um, like not on the floor, under the floor. Like I've been on the floor before. I have. But in this instance, I was under the floor, questioning everything. And in that time, for me, I say God, I say spirit, I say divine, I say my creator. I know that there is a presence that is bigger than me, that I can lean on. And that having that understanding of that there is a presence bigger than you gives me a chance to breathe. Okay, there's a net here, right? There's a net here. But in that time, what I realized during that season is that I grew up in church, so it was very like religious, church, 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 religion, 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 church, church, church. But even within that, creativity was a little bit limited. So spirituality in terms of religion. But then when it comes to like science, there was some tension because of what was being said. But in this time where I had to shut everything out, where no one else can tell me, no one else can speak for me, no one else can speak life into me in a way, I had to do it myself because I was so low. During that time, the revelation that science and spirituality are actually sisters, like they're actually connected. And there is power in separating them, but power for who?
Mm.
But more power comes when they are together because there are pieces of science that reflect back and give information and understanding to spirituality. And there are pieces in spirituality that reflect and point back to and give definition and more deeper understanding to science. They both work hand in hand because they were never meant to be separate. That was the download that I received, and I've been seeing it
Mm.
over and over and over and over and over in life. So when you think of science, science is like give me the data. We get really focused, as you said, because it's very very logic minded, and I love logic. I love just sitting and reading science books. I have to make myself read fiction. So I love that part. I literally
Me too.
do.
Me
Okay.
too.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I've read like 5 science books, Giselle. Let's get some fiction in there. Let's
Yes.
go and get some fiction in there. But so I'm not downing the logical brain, that side of our brain. It's really important. It helps us to understand. When you understand, then you can make decisions. However, spirituality and imagination, which is all creativity is, it gives us a chance to know that it is not all on us. If for whatever reason that level of awareness, we're not there yet to understand the next part, but we understand this part, that's okay. However, on the spirituality side, all of the levels are available and we can just rest in it and see what happens. It takes some of the pressure off of us when we're in that creative mode. It gives us the opportunity to see what's inside of us that maybe we don't have the logical explanation for, but it's still there. Like at some point, we didn't have the logical explanation for how we can breathe. Or we
Mm.
didn't have that logical explanation for how we can get to the moon. How is there stars up there? But over time, we began to understand more and more. And so that's where creativity really comes in and how it is connected to spirituality, how it is connected to understanding that there is a source that is so much bigger than you, honey. You can just relax and know I am held. I may not know this logically just yet, but I will. And there are keys, there are tools, and there's resources that are already within me that can help me get there even quicker and make this process a lot easier. And that's where the arts come in.
Yes. And what you just shared is right that that involves an incredible amount of trust, which I think is something really common that I know we've both spoken to. So I think is a part of our work and what the people that we work with need to know, right, is developing that trust. And so there is a level of self-trust, and then there's this trust, right, in this there's something bigger to me, bigger than me, and what is that, right? And each of us is going to have our own way of understanding, describing, connecting to that. But even as you were speaking, I loved how you shared that they are sisters. Even that like science, spirituality, those are both S's. They're sisters. Oh my gosh. But I got this visual of this beautiful braid. And that often comes up in a lot of the meditation and guided work that I'll do is right the braiding. Um, and that was just another one that came in of like, they really are, right? They're complementary to each other. So we're not saying we don't want to use logic. It's saying that we've been doing that and we've kind of lost or forgotten this other piece, or it's been right over here in the shadow. And I know many, for many, right, there's um, from our history and from our own experiences, there's qualms with religion. There's questions there. There's maybe lack of trust. There's different things
A lot of
there.
hurt. There's been a lot of hurt.
Hurt, right? And so we've sometimes closed that door, and that's where we're heavily over here, or we're not sure
Yeah.
what, because that is a journey, as you were talking about your journey, like when I've reached my lowest point and working or guiding myself out of it, out of that was such a journey and so much transformation. I'm so thankful for myself of doing that and continuing to do so, right? Where um uh figuring out how do I connect? What do I believe? How does that show up for me? And that's not something we can that just happens like in an instant, right? I think that's being able to nourish that to figure out what it is,
Mm,
right? But if we just close that door, we're just over here living with part just half of us,
yeah.
right? And I think the way that we have currently kind of are operating and setting up our systems societally, this one is very acceptable and we're praised for this, where this one is not so much. And so I love just the braiding of those two back to like coming back to what you were saying, the full spectrum, becoming a whole person, a whole woman. And that's part of the radiant woman. Um, when I was able to add that back in, that's where the radiance comes in.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's where the lightness and the fun we can, like, 'cause I don't know about you, but I had a whole time of like everything is so serious.
Gosh, girl, yes. Girl, chill out. Sometimes I have like chill out. Like chill out. And I know when you say how therapists need therapists, doctors need doctors, coaches need coaches, you know, parents need other parents, married couples need other couples. We need each other. And even more so, we need those who are in similar situations and similar fields because they understand where we are and can take us to the next level. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like
Mhm.
that is a really, really huge piece in that. And even when you were saying it can be a journey, for me, a lot of times when I was in that very, very serious, controlling um, kind of energy, it was from fear. It was from fear of stuff that happened in the past, and I didn't want to happen it again. It was control. It was controlling. If I can control all the different elements around me, then I'll be safe. Trust is extremely important. Trust in every area of our lives. Trust with ourselves. Trust to trust ourselves to be able to be a support to others. Because we can be in the field, we can have a license, we can have all the degrees. But if there is a level where we are limiting or capping our trust in our own ability, then that becomes a hindrance to us as well. And so trust is extremely important. And even when you are entering into and exploring more and expanding it with spirituality or religion or whatever you may call it, I say lean in with curiosity and give yourself a lot of grace. Because you have those like myself. I grew up in church. My grandfather was a pastor. Like that was all I knew. And yet there were areas with that that I didn't even agree to when I was going to the church, that was not in alignment with what my soul and what my spirit's connection to source was. And so there was a lot that I needed to unlearn, but that was trusting myself to be able to do it. And it was still a journey. So whether you knew nothing, whether you knew everything, or you knew some stuff and it was like corrupt, like whatever it is a journey. And because we are alive, we're still growing, which means we're still expanding, we're still changing, our perspective are still changing. It's still, our container is expanding even more, which means that we may still be on that journey and it's okay. That journey of refinement. I used to believe that served me in this way, but now something is shifting and I'm feeling more of this, and that is okay. That trust and allowing yourself to grow and to be a living being is really important. I feel like when we get so stuck in this area, it's because we're trying to control everything. We're trying to make it make sense. And there's so many parts of life that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that we're getting oxygen from the trees, the same
Yeah.
oxygen that helps us to breathe, but it's coming from a plant. Like there's so many things that I don't understand, and the many things I love researching that just don't make logical sense to me at this stage, to me at this perception level, to me where I am right now in my experiences. But it may
Mhm.
at another time. But if I don't allow myself to release the hold and trust that I will know what I need to know when I need to know it, and to trust that there are other things that can help me to have a greater perspective, and to trust and give myself grace that I'm still growing as a person, and allow myself to be supported in that, to trust that I am enough to lead another person towards illness and wellness and wholeness, to trust that my experiences, even if as a therapist or as a coach or as a healing facilitator or whatever other titles we have, that even though I have that quote unquote title for other people to know, that I'm still working on stuff in my own life, and yet I still have the power, I still have the wisdom to share. It's okay. Like that is where we
Mm.
having that trust allows us to still be a living, breathing, expanding being. We're still getting our little science on, but also trusting that there's some things that may not make sense. So let me go sit down and do a puzzle. And as I'm doing a puzzle, I'm getting all these downloads and insights. Let me go put on some music and go for a walk. Let me get in nature. Oh my gosh, I took like an hour-long walk today. When I tell you the downloads that I received, crazy. And I wasn't drawing, I wasn't singing, I wasn't dancing, I was walking in nature. But even that is a form of spirituality. We are seeing what has been created that is so much bigger than us, and yet it's breathing and it's thriving. Surely we can too.
Yeah, yes. And even what as you were sharing, like going on a walk or the other thing that you're doing, it's giving the spaciousness that we've mentioned a couple of times. In that space, your brain will know how to, it's like it organizes it instead of us like, oh, I gotta figure it out. Like I'm the little worker in my brain. I had a visual of like, I'm the little worker in my brain figuring it all out.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I can just go over here and do this thing and enjoy this moment being present. Um, and my brain is going to know to do that part. It's when we're like, you brought up the control again, and I was glad that you had brought that up because it's the forcing, the pushing, and that's what our brain or our mind wants to do if we're too zoomed into that, right? And that's where the braiding comes in of like, and you spoke a lot about trust, and I think a big question for a lot of people is like, well, then how do I trust, or well, how am I going to know, right?
Yeah.
And that's our mind, right? Asking that question, right? But I think for my journey and what I've seen and know of how to trust is there was a level of needing to work with my mind to quiet some of that down to understand how, um, which involved silence, space, and then certainly doing that inner work and things to work through what is coming up, recognizing where did this thought even come from? Is this something that even matches, right? Or have I shifted? You were talking about shifting, right? That's actually not something I believe now. But the more that like we do that first, that's when this part opens up,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it's just that refining of really recognizing which is which, right? And what it is. And the more that we really understand and work with our mind, it's giving us space for this part to develop,
Yeah.
right? The times that we give our mind a rest and do the enjoyable things, the things that are fun or light, right? You mentioned children, like they have that. It's natural,
Yes.
right? And we've forgotten that. And so being able to bring that in, and I know for a lot of my logical minded women that I work with, right? High performers, high achievers, that's me too, right? Like we love reading science books. There's a whole other part of you that's so beautiful to experience and it again just braids so beautifully together, and so we get to enjoy both.
Yeah.
And that is even the work to do, right? Like, oh, I don't have to choose one or the other.
Yeah. What if we could, what if we can enjoy, because there is some goodness in like having a real good book and you're like, ooh, I get it. Ooh, yes, yes, that makes sense, right? And the science of it.
Yes.
What if we could have pleasure in our brain and have pleasure in our body? What
Mm.
if we could be the whole body, the whole experience is pleasure? Because there's something about when we're heavily logical, yes, sometimes it can be a trauma response, real talk, that we're still working through. Yes, it can be a control thing, things that we are exiting out, but there's still pieces of it. It totally be that. It could be fear, it could be all those things. But there's also something about getting a concept, and it's not just a concept anymore. You're like, oh, I got this. Y'all may not know, but I totally got this. I got it. It's something rewarding, right? About getting a scientific concept or knowing how something works, why it works. It's something very rewarding, at least for me it is.
Mhm.
But what about being able to, and just being out in nature and how your brain and your body naturally recenters itself, recalibrates itself by being in this space, by doing things that are fun? That's bringing pleasure to the body. Like when you eat some food, you go to a food festival or something, or there's a special food, it's just like, ooh, wee, it's so good. Or if there's like a special cologne, ooh, it smells so good. Or you going out on the beach and you just like, oh my gosh. Or you with somebody that you think is cute. It's just like, gosh, it's so great, right? And you just, or with friends, groups of friends, and you're laughing and you're having a great time. It brings pleasure to your entire
Mm.
rest. And like, ain't nothing I need to do. I don't, nobody's waiting on me. I don't have to put on all alarms. You're on vacation. I'm just resting. That brings pleasure to your body. It brings pleasure to your spirit. And it's not telling you you can no longer have pleasure with your brain now. You can't be in the science, logical brain now. You can't have pleasure in your body and your spirit and all of that stuff if you want pleasure. No, we get to have them both. But I think what has been missing is we have been so focused in that logical brain because of the nature of what we study, right? Because of the nature of what we do, we need to be there. We need to live in that area a little bit more. However, what happens is we forget and we turn off our bodies. When we turn off our bodies, we forget our body is sending us so many different signals, and all that you get is when it's gotten to a point where it's bad, where you can't get out of the bed, or you feel like very discouraging or depressive thoughts, or your health is like completely going haywire. Well, it's been sending signals all along, but when we don't allow the somatics, when we don't allow the spaciousness, when we don't allow ourselves to trust to just wait and not force it to be figured out, it's going to be figured out. When we don't do that, we shut off the sensors to our body. We shut off the pleasure to our body. We shut off and when we don't have pleasure in our body, it can zap joy from our life, from our
Mm.
experience. One thing I really loved when it first came out about Google is they had like a game room in their building. So everyone you go and you do your work at your desk, yes. But then there will be specific times when people are on the clock, but they'll be in the game room, shooting pool, playing video games, whatever it is, have snacks there and all of that stuff. What is happening? They're still working. But now they've implemented and this is actually a science. So for us who love science, we can go and do the research, right? There's a science about allowing when we step away from it, the problem is still working itself out, but we're not forcing it. We're not forcing it because that extra force is actually tiring us out. It's limiting, it's draining our capacity to be able to fully understand. It's actually taking it away from us. But implementing play, implementing pleasure back into our lives allows us, one, to be aware of what's happening in my emotional body, my spiritual body, my mental body,
Mhm.
what's happening in my home, what's happening, all around me. But then it also allows us to receive that pleasure. And it becomes like a recycling, that symbol. When we take that pleasure in and we feel it, we feel so good, we come into our work with that energy. We come into our clients with that energy. We come into our artwork, our projects with that energy, with that confidence. And in terms of trust, one thing that you can do for trust is listen. What what would feel really good to me right now? And listen. Whatever comes up, do it. Sometimes it could be, I haven't had water all day. Sometimes it could be, when's the last, I'm hungry. I'm just really hungry right now. Sometimes it could be my feet hurt. Sometimes it could be I need sunlight. I need to get out of this office and I need to go outside. It can be a many different things. But whatever it is, do it. That's building trust. Trust building with ourselves is very similar to trust building with someone else.
Yes. I love what you shared and where this conversation was going, I think as you were speaking, is like it's now the integrating of the two. Um, and right that we and I love what you shared about it being like it is so satisfactory to when something lands that logically, right? And it's like bringing in from like, ooh, there's this idea, there's this something that's a little more intangible, and that satisfaction is like, ooh, because it lands in a physical or tangible way, right? And so as you were talking, right, it's integrating the two, and like I feel like I had a whole experience just as you were sharing that message, in that like initially I felt all the pleasure in my body and I was like, oh yeah, and I was like tapping into that a little bit more. And then as you continued and came to the end of the message, I felt very much more grounded and like that calm or peace. And that's really the experience, right? And I know, as you mentioned, you blend in somatics through your work, and I do as well as a somatic facilitator. And all that really means is, right, we're working with the body. And this is right, this is crucial for anyone, but especially as women, that we need to be able to access our body. And so many, right, if we're numb to that, or we've kind of we've cut that off or disconnected in some way, right? And it can be a fully, or it can be, right, there's nuance to that. Like there's still ways to connect in our body. Um, but that's where the braiding comes in, is like, oh, I feel into that. And that's right. Cause I was like, oh, I'm super focused, right? Into this. And it's like, wait, I need a break. I go and like get in my body and enjoy this. I come back, I'm grounded,
You braid it.
fully integrated,
Yes.
and I'm feeling good.
Yes.
Right? But it's not like a just like a, oh, so excited, all of that, but it's deeper in our body now. And that is just such a beautiful experience. And that's, I think, an example of living fully and accessing the full parts of us.
Mhm.
Um,
And what you
as,
said, I just
yeah.
want to say it's so much more important as women because we are in fields that were primarily male dominated. And that's cool. Do your thing. That's you. Do your thing. However, we are not males. We do not have male bodies. would venture to say I started researching today, so continue on this research. But what I started studying this week was we even have a different nervous system. Our nervous system is different than a male's nervous system. So even how we approach our work, how you approach your clients, how often you have clients, how back to back to back they are, is going to vary. We cannot use them as an example for everyone. We just can't. So I just wanted to put that.
Yes. I'm so glad you added that in there and right and even recognizing like regardless of what field you're in. So you mentioned right being in male dominated, like I've been in primarily female dominated
Mm,
industries. We're seeing the same thing, right? And so um yeah, and I think just being able to really recognize that and okay, I have some different needs, right? I have some different ways that I'm going to nourish, right? Like the from a male perspective to get like they are emptying out a lot
mm-hmm.
and we need to fill up,
Yes.
right? And certainly that goes right both ways as well, right? Where as women we're seeing that impact, right? We're seeing um the autoimmune conditions that we have, right? 80% of people with autoimmune conditions are women,
Yeah.
right? Like we could go on and on and on.
Mental health,
Um,
all of it. Physical health,
right.
all of it. Yeah.
And I think that as women are leading in that and they're making these changes for themselves, that will ripple out into our families, our partners, our children, all the places. And so I love that you brought that in. And I know I would love to share, like, I feel like we came to this such like this integrated place. You gave a couple of really great tools, and I think just um, use the examples that we gave to really get some ideas of how you can incorporate this into your life.
Mhm.
And I would love to just take a moment or two for us to each share a little bit about how maybe it's some of the work that we do or how people can connect or work with us, whatever you'd like to share,
Yeah.
Jazz.
I'd love that. So, the work, the offerings that I have right now are, um, I call it Channel of Love, which is somatic sound healing. And it is using traditional crystal singing bowls, but also a lot of intuitive vocal sound and light language in the midst of that. And that's where you're able to, and I teach this to you as well, where you're able to use the sound frequencies to move through some of the moving and releasing within your bodies, the somatic work of it that helps you to reground, that helps you to recenter and get locked into yourself again. And then I also offer some creativity coaching. So different packages like that. You have an idea, you're trying to get it from idea in your head to out to monetize. And I offer services for that as well. And you can find me at fully me underscore fully me on IG as well as on YouTube. I have some videos on there as well.
Amazing. And I have experienced firsthand Jazz's, the channeling of love, the sound session, and it was
Mm.
ah, like not only like feeling so mm, just so delicious and comforting as well in the process. Like it really opened up some things for me. It shed light on areas that, she was able to tune into that we didn't speak about prior, right? So she's adding in that her intuitive gifts and things to really just hone in on the areas that you need. And I will definitely be experiencing another one of those. So definitely check that out. And for any of you who would be interested in working with me, I am This Radiant Woman. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube, which we'll be posting here. So you're probably right. You can just click through and find us. Um, and I am currently I do have three one-on-one spaces open right now. And so I am able to I can do more of the coaching and mentorship with you. So if you're wanting to work through some of these internal things that can come up, really knowing how to work within the mind to clear that out and to be able to access this other part of you, that's what I can do with you. I also offer within the private sessions, if you would rather have more of a guided somatic practice, that is something that I offer, which is really helping you in that integration phase, it can also really help you in releasing. So if you're really holding on to emotions or even having a hard time with like these beliefs that keep coming up, or you're kind of repeating some of the same patterns, that can really help you release that by getting into the body. We go through the different channels of our awareness. And so from the mind to our imagination, all the way through our emotional body and the movements that we need to release that. So that's something that you can experience in private session with me. And then I also am in taking interest for my Radiant Body Renew program, which is a so much more than a wellness program, but this would be the space for those of you who are really recognizing I need my own wellness and I need to create space for me to do that myself. I will guide you through um, some different ways of doing that. And I have kind of a framework that I've t- just really to kind of guide you through that process and allow you to show up for yourself. So I would love, any of you to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to comment. Let us know what resonated for you in this conversation. And I am just so happy to be here with you, Jazz. And I feel like we're just going to have to do this again because
Do
this
this
was so
again.
much fun.
It was so good. I'm like, this could be all day, but we need to go.
Yes, so good.
Oh my gosh, we just got to do it again.
Whew. Yes. So
Thank
I
you.
hope you all enjoyed that. Thank you. Yes. Mm.